Hi, how are you?
Hi, I don't know who I'm looking at.
Oh,
Okay.
this is Amy from Fansided. Sorry, I realized it says Fansided admin. It doesn't have my name. So I want to I'll be quick because I know you've got a lot of these things today. I want to first talk to you a little bit about why you chose PFL over some of the other MMA organizations for your debut.
Mm, well, I've had a talk with a lot of MMA leagues or companies, and Dana, I just feel like the conversation was more like kind of like a one fight deal thing, and I'm like, that's not really like too lucrative for me. Like that's like kind of like a snatch and grab, and I'm more of like knew like I would be in MMA long term because I just know like I always kind of thought about it, so that wasn't something I was interested in. I think my team had a conversation with Bellator, and they told me that I think my boxing was too neat for them to be one of their athletes, I guess. I don't know. So that didn't we didn't really go with them. And then the conversation with PFL was more like it had more time, it was more lucrative as far as in pay. And then also too the PFL season to be able to fight for the $1 million, so just seemed like it was kind of like going my direction and seemed like it was something that I would be able to do long term. And also too, I'm also allowed to still box. So it ain't like I have to like stop boxing to be a PFL athlete. I can still box and also be an MMA fighter in the PFL. So that was two great things I saw for myself.
How do you plan on balancing boxing and MMA? Do you plan on kind of giving MMA a little bit of a focus and taking a break from boxing, or do you want to do them both at the same time?
I'm doing both at the same time. I think I'm young enough to do it. And like I can box in my sleep. Like beating those girls in boxing, like I said, I've been doing that with ease for many years now. Not just the 4 years I've been pro, but in the Olympics and in the amateurs. It's not many girls that even train on a level that I train in order to be able to beat me in a fight. So I'm going to continue my boxing training, of course, but I'm going to work on my weaknesses as far as in MMA, like work on my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, and my Muay Thai, and get all that stuff, mixed in together to make me the fighter that I'm supposed to be in MMA to be, dominant in all those areas.
And we saw you were training with Jon Jones. How did that come about?
Um, Me and Jon Jones been friends for a few years now, and every time I see him, it's more just like it's all love, it's all respect, and we both give each other that respect of being goats. And he always said if I ever wanted to go over to MMA, because always been talks about it over the last couple of years. He just said like him and his team would be more than happy to help me and more than happy for me to come train with them. After signing the PFL, contract to be a professional MMA fighter, I got so many coaches reaching out to me from all over, coaches I do know, coaches I've heard of, some I haven't heard of. And it just seemed like coming to Albuquerque, New Mexico was the fastest move in order for me to take advantage of my time that I had to get ready for my MMA debut in June of next year.
So you will be doing your MMA camp there at Jackson Week with Jon. Is he going to be cornering you, or that sort of just a special occasion type thing?
I don't know. You never know. You never know. Like he's training with me every other day, and I'm coming back here after Christmas to do some training, and he's already let me know like he wants to be like hands on, be right there, supporting me the whole time, giving me knowledge. So I don't know. You may end up seeing him in the corner. I don't know. It depends on how much time he has. But I know Coach Wink and Coach Greg Jackson, they've all been putting in time with me also. And it's been like a team effort. It's really like a family-oriented thing. And I also train with Holly Holmes, too. And we've been working on kicks and, some forms and changing my stance up so the kicks will come off easier because boxers stand different than MMA fighters. So it's a lot that I've been working on. I just been drilling over the last couple of days.
And speaking of Holly, there have been a few women fighters that have transitioned from boxing to MMA. Have you spoken to any of them and gotten their advice, or will you be looking at their careers and kind of seeing what they did right and wrong and kind of adjusting for yours?
There's other boxers that did this?
Yeah, there's Heather Hardy,
Oh,
Amanda
yeah.
Serrano.
Already Amanda Serrano.
Yeah, nobody at your level, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna have a talk with Holly because she actually became champion in it, and she, I know they had the Hardy, and I watched them do it, but I can't really. Me and Heather Hardy have two different ways of boxing. She's way less aggressive than what I am. She's more of a boxer, and me and Amanda Serrano, we're more on the same length where we go and get girls and beat them up pretty bad. But Amanda did reach out and she told me to more of like work on my wrestling and stuff like that. So I've definitely listened to that, but that was something I already had in my head.
Yeah. And what about Holly? What sort of advice did she give you, or Jon even, about MMA?
I mean, they just been working with me, like not really like advice, and Jon just told me to have that winning mentality like that I always have. And Holly told me to, be more to not be always be to not always be defensive minded, but it's okay to still have that, have that aggression and just how to kick and how to use my kicks and just how how it's going to be. And she said like it's a great opportunity for me, and it's great to be here and up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, training.
How have your boxing fans reacted to your transition? Are they supportive?
Majority of them are, and then there's some people who are doubters. But I feel like the MMA community has been like very open and kind of embraced me. But some of the biggest guys of boxing have texted me, like Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Andre Ward, Shakur Stevenson. It's so many guys who have reached out to me and told me like, sis, we believe in you. You got this. Train hard, even though we're nervous for you, because top boxers don't go over to MMA.
Right.
But they're like that you're willing to do it. Like, we support you 100%. We believe in you, and you got this. Just train hard, and everybody knows I'm gonna train hard, and that I'm just like a vicious person, as far as in boxing and when it comes to fighting. So everybody's been supportive, but you have your fans who say, "Oh, this is terrible." There were a lot of fans who were doubting me because they didn't know how I would train. But not even a full week went by after signing to the PFL, and now I'm here in Albuquerque getting some training in. So it's really been shocking to people how serious that I'm taking it. Like, this not a publicity stunt. This is real life.
Right.
And I want them and they're like, this is real. I'm preparing. I'm drilling. I'm training. And I'm sore as hell.
And you mentioned a publicity stunt, and there was a big boxing fight that was just announced between Mayweather and Paul. What do you yeah. What do you think of those types of fights? Do you feel like that reflects badly on boxing?
I think it just shows that social media and like boxing is an entertainment business, and they're using it as that right now. Like, some networks and people are taking advantage of that. And that's not a bad thing. That's what the network's job is supposed to do. But I feel like they're looking at it as more of entertainment instead of sport. And you have diehard boxing fans who want to see real fights. When like when fighters come out of retirement, they want to see them fight against the best fighters who are currently here. And then you have, Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor, or Mayweather fighting Logan Paul. And that's just kind of not like what the diehard boxing fans want to see, but it's still entertainment, and we'll still buy those fights and everything. But I just think that boxing right now is trying to be put on the forefront as far as they taking that entertainment and making boxing not only a sport, but making it about entertainment. And I mean, I know that Floyd is going to beat Logan Paul up pretty bad, just like I would beat up Jake Paul pretty bad. And I think that's a fight that Triller needs to make. Me versus Jake Paul. Make it the first woman versus man fight, exhibition fight. That like that needs to happen, because what he did to Nate Robinson wasn't right.
Right. And speaking of how women in boxing tend to be treated a lot differently than the men, especially on the pay scale, was that something that kind of gave you a little bit of a push towards MMA?
Yeah, and like I said, so I'm still going to box at the same time. But it was like the PFL, like, I like how it was equal. I like how, you control your own destiny. Like, I have a chance to fight in the PFL season 2022, 2023. And the more I win and the more I get knockouts, the higher I go. And I'll have a chance to be in the finals and fight for $1 million. Like, that's a big deal. And the men have that same opportunity. Also, too, we fight the same the same amount of time. So 3 rounds, 5 minutes, and championship rounds, 5 minutes, 5 rounds. So it's the same. It's equal, and that's why it's so much more respect for MMA for the women than it is in boxing, because they give you all these reasons to why women can't fight 3 minutes for 12 rounds. It is all bullcrap, because we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you feel like there's anything that you can do personally to help change that stigma?
The only thing I can do is, like I said, keep building my brand and be bigger, and just put the word out to whoever is listening that boxing is sexist. That's all, and that they need to be held accountable for counting us out, and not, and making us promises and not keeping their word. They need to be held accountable for that, and also not giving us the equal opportunities that they get them in. They need to be held accountable. That's the only way that boxing will ever become equal. And also, too, give us the same fight time. If their reasons for paying us less is because we fight less, okay, cool. Let us fight the same time, and then pay us the same then. Like, take away all the excuses. There's just too many excuses in boxing.
Yeah. And my final question for you is, a lot of fans have been obviously assuming you're going to fight Kayla Harrison at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the path to her, do you feel like?
Like I said, the PFL season, you control your own destiny. So I'm not gonna say like, oh, me and her gonna be in the PFL season finals together in 2022. I really don't know. Like I said, I know like I plan to be there, but she also has to go through her group of girls, and then it's a possible clash. But that's not somebody who I'm thinking about right now. I'm taking it one fight at a time, and we'll see what happens in 2022. But I have a lot of respect for Kayla Harrison. We've been to both Olympics together, both got Olympic gold medals in our sports, and we're actually friends. But at the same time, if we have to end up in the octagon fighting each other, we're both gonna put it all on the line and go for the win. So,
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
no
Have a good
problem.
day. Thanks.